Hello, and thank you very much indeed for agreeing to be a sidesperson once again, either here at St Luke's or at Christ Church. The same instructions apply in both places, but here we are at St Luke's. Things may be in slightly different places at Christ Church, but the same rationale applies. Please just use your common sense. The psychologists tell us that when someone arrives in church, we have 40 seconds before they've decided whether or not we have made a good impression upon them. 40 seconds. So please, most importantly, be ready and greet people. Be ready means being here probably 30 minutes before the service begins. So by 10 o'clock at St Luke's or by 10:30 at Christ Church. While the guidelines continue, please do arrange for track and trace to be done before people enter church or as they enter church, either through the QR or indeed by writing down the household's name and telephone number. We don't need individual names. A household's name and phone number is sufficient. Masks, hand sanitizer, and of course gloves are available if people need them, and at the moment people still need to continue wearing masks during worship. Please, 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 even if you're wearing a mask, smile when welcoming people. Ask their names if we don't know them. If they're visiting, offer to show people to a seat, and do mention that we're using every other pew to keep social distance. There are always magazines available. Please do give people a copy of the latest magazine, and of course all the things that they'll need in worship that day. As we get back to normal, we'll be reusing hymn books, but they also need a white envelope, a pew sheet, and the relevant order of service for the day. And they'll be grouped together in one pile for everyone. We also have large print available in terms of both the service sheets and of the hymn books. Please don't stand with your back to the door. It says, we're already in and you're not yet in. You're outside. That's the last thing we want to convey. Please don't stand with your back to the door, but stand gathered, welcoming people. A word about children. Obviously, we welcome everyone into God's house. Children are as welcome as adults of every age are. But we appeal for sensitivity so that everyone can worship together. That means do suggest to families that if children get anxious or fretful, they're very welcome to go outside, into the gardens, into the playground, come back in. It's not that once you're in, you must stay in. Equally, until Sunday school begins again, in both churches, vestries are available, and already at St Luke's and very soon at Christ Church, there will be sound provision of the service into the vestry. So please do encourage people to use them, even if it's only for 5 minutes of a distressed child's wailing. Don't feel shy to say it. It's the manner in which you say it that will either be seen as welcoming and hospitable and caring, or rather cold. We know which one we need to convey and communicate. Thank you. One of the things that's important in both our churches is that we have ramp access. At St Luke's, we have the stone ramp outside, as well as the metal ramp over the first step. At Christ Church, we only have that metal ramp on the first step. As sidespersons, please do make sure it's securely placed. And if you see someone struggling, then please don't hesitate to help them. Some people prefer to use it, some people prefer not to use it. Whatever it may be, please do offer your help. And just before the service begins, perhaps remember to close the inner doors, but keep the outer doors open at all times. Thank you. And now Sam is going to have a word about what's happening during and after the service.
Hello, quite simply during the service, when it comes to communion, do make sure that you direct the flow of communicants up towards the altar for communion, which involves going from the back pew first and inviting people forward pew by pew so that they can receive communion and then return by the side aisles. If there are elderly people or people with limited mobility who would value assistance, please do assist them. And if they'd like to receive communion in their pew, again, please just ask them that, and then make sure that someone is able to tell me as they receive communion at the end. Likely Sue, our verger, or Anna as the person to tell me that I need to go out, or the priest needs to go out and give communion. You can wait until the end to receive communion, so at the end, please do feel free to come forward and receive communion yourselves. As we get to the end of the service and the final dismissal is given, please make sure you open these doors so that the choir can get out quickly and safely, or at Christchurch that the doors are open so that the congregation can start to again exit quickly and safely. As people leave, collect in their books, their hymn books and their leaflets and pack those away. Encourage them to take the pew sheet home with them. It's got lots of news for the coming week, and often pictures, we hope, are a lovely thing to be able to leave lying around on the kitchen table for a bit as a reminder of what's happened in the week. Do welcome and talk to visitors and others who might be new to the parish. Often there will be people waiting around or arriving for a baptism, so please again make them feel very welcome, especially if they're only just coming into the building. And take note of anything that might be missing. If there are shortages of masks, of hand sanitizer, of paper for track and trace, then please let one of the clergy know, or let the parish office know. The easiest way is probably simply to drop an email to parishoffice@chelseaparish.org, letting them know what's missing. In St Luke's, you need to turn the lighting to position 4, please, as you leave, because the church will remain open with the cafe afterwards, but the lighting just simply needs to be set at a lower level. And then that is it. Thank you again for helping in this ministry and for doing all you do in welcoming people, both long-standing and new, to our congregations and to worship with us.